Tonight, the Fun Belt, all the way south. The last two times Georgia Southern and South Alabama have met, it's gone down to the wire. We expect another entertaining one tonight in Mobile. The Eagles visit the Jags on ESPNU. Let's check out the standings in the Sun Belt. One of the conferences at the Group of 5 level. Of course, Coastal Carolina is everyone's darling, still undefeated, number 15 in the country. Georgia Southern, a team that has won a Sun Belt championship back in 2014. As for South Alabama, still in search of their first 7-win season since they started playing football in 2009. And with that, we welcome you to Thursday Night Football, and thank you so much for spending some of your Thursday night with us, alongside the Super Bowl champion Mark Hertzlich, Drew Carter on hand. And Mark, these two teams play differently offensively, two quarterbacks with very different styles.
Yeah, they really are. And start Georgia Southern, Tomlin, he is their leader. He missed the first 2 games due to suspension. However, when he is on the field, he is dynamic. He can run the ball, he can throw the ball, and he is the conductor of this Georgia Southern option offense. Very accurate over the middle. Let's see if he extends the ball downfield a little more, but when he does ball down and run, he is electric. You see him fly into the end zone against Arkansas earlier this year. And then on the other side of the ball, South Alabama, they got Jake Bentley. You might recognize his name. He was at South Carolina, then he was at Utah. Now he is conducting this pocket passer, drop back offense. And Jake Bentley is distributing the ball. He has 9,500 yards in his career. He's got great wide receivers on the outside like Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Wayne. Look for the ball to be aired out all game.
Now, Jake Bentley is a name a lot of people probably recognize, Mark. Same thing for his offensive coordinator, Major Applewhite. Right side of your screen. He was Nick Saban's first offensive coordinator in Tuscaloosa back in 2007, and he's the top assistant for head coach Kane Womack, only 34 years old, the youngest coach in FBS, expects to be here for a long time.
Yeah, Kane Womack, he's a guy, he was a Broyles Award finalist last year. He was a highly sought after coach. South Alabama was the spot he landed. His first call was to Major Applewhite with Womack's defensive prowess and Applewhite's offensive prowess. They thought they could have a real successful team. First 3 games looked great. Last 2, not so much. See if they can bounce back.
Yeah, Womack's still in search of his first win. On the other side, there's some flux in Statesboro right now. Georgia Southern let their head coach Chad Lunsford go 4 games into the season, and that's the man who steps in as the interim. Kevin Whitley was the cornerbacks coach for Georgia Southern. Now gets his first taste of head coaching experience. He's 1-1 so far. Georgia Southern Eagles won the toss, and they have elected to defer. So we'll get a look at that South Alabama offense led by Jake Bentley. Najee Thompson back deep to receive for the Jaguars at the brand new Hancock Whitney Stadium. Finally, some fans get to see the new house in Mobile.
Yeah, and it's nice. What an improvement this stadium is. They got everything riding on this one, and man, what an exciting game this is going to be.
Britton Williams kicks it away for Georgia Southern. We are underway in the Port City. Big hit on the kick. You like that, Hertzlich, don't you?
I do. Man, they're physical already. These players knows what time it is. It's time for some football. It's time for some hitting. You know who doesn't want to be hit? That's Jake Bentley. He's a guy. I mean, you look at where his career started. South Carolina, 7 starts, and went to Utah. Only 4 starts. He got injured earlier in his career, and he's really felt like he's found a home here. And Major Applewhite, so have him under center.
Bentley with over 9,500 career.
Left guard, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Penalty moves the ball back to the 10-yard line. It'll be first down and goal to go. Jags, number 8, Jalen Tolbert. In the back, number 7, Anthony Beck.
Back at Hancock Whitney Stadium in Mobile, Alabama, 7-0 Jaguars lead. A 12-yard touchdown run from the quarterback Jake Bentley, and USA strikes first against Georgia Southern. Back here on ESPNU, we think we have the feed working again. I'm Drew Carter alongside the Super Bowl champ Mark Hertzlich. Mark, while we were out there with some technical difficulties, thanks for sticking with us, everyone. Hope you got a chance to maybe read one of those behind you or something, but we got a good matchup here tonight between two Sun Belt teams. What are you expecting from tonight's matchup?
Well, Jake Bentley, getting the ball on the snap right now, you expect a lot of throwing. Obviously, that first drive ended in him running the ball into the end zone, which that's kind of uncharacteristic for him, but this is going to be a different style offense. When you look at South Alabama, they're going to air the ball out, throw it all over the field. High energy passing offense. Then the other side of the ball, when you look at Georgia Southern, they are that triple option with a little bit of passing game woven in. But so far in this game, they're going to go best on best. And now it's been one drive and one touchdown for this South Alabama team.
Bentley has this offense humming. He ran in that touchdown. He also is 3 for 3 through the air for 42 yards. Bentley, the sixth-year senior on his third school. His career at South Carolina, spent 4 years with the Gamecocks and started the majority of that time. And spent 1 year in Utah in the COVID-shortened 2020 season, now with the Jaguars.
Yeah, and South Alabama fans will be happy to see 25 in the backfield. Terrion Avery wasn't sure whether he was going to be able to go this game, but he is one of the 2 top backs in the South Alabama team.
Bentley to throw on third down. Incomplete. Near the sticks, he was looking for Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah, Jalen Tolbert, he's been so good for them this year. But really good play defensively by Seth Robertson. Just being able to sit there in the zone coverage, have eyes on the quarterback, stick the ball in there, knock the ball away.
Georgia Southern comes up with a stop, and it brings out the punt unit for South Alabama. Jack Brooks sends it in the air to Caleb Hood to receive. Hood with some room, and a solid return. Georgia Southern starts just... Well, the last 2 meetings between South Alabama and Georgia Southern have been thrillers. A couple years ago, the Eagles tied the game with 20 seconds left to force overtime, and Tyler Bass, the Bills' current kicker, provided the game winner. Eagles won 20-17 in double OT. Last year, South Alabama took a 7-point lead late in the third quarter, but a pair of fourth-quarter touchdowns from Georgia Southern and Wesley Kennedy gave the Eagles the win by 7 and helped them stay perfect time against the Jags, 7-0 in that all-time series. But South Alabama leads by 7, that same score tonight at Hancock Whitney Stadium after a 12-yard run by the quarterback Jake Bentley on their opening drive. And the Jags have their first opening drive touchdown since November of last year against Georgia State. Drew Carter back with Mark Hertzlich. We hope you enjoyed the sound portion of the first quarter earlier. We are back with you. Thanks for sticking with us through those technical difficulties. First down and 10. Justin Tomlin runs the show for Georgia Southern. Short gain up the middle for Logan Wright on first down.
Yeah, look, they're going to see a litany of backs for this Georgia Southern team, whether it's J.D. King, Logan Wright, Gerald Green, Jalen White. I mean, they have so many guys. And really last week, it was Logan Wright's day. He had a fantastic day last week, and he is their big back. I mean, you see the size of him. He can run up the middle, but surprisingly, he can bounce the ball outside and pick up some good yardage in open space.
Logan Wright, 6 foot 230, running to the left of the quarterback Tomlin, who slips on second down. And it'll bring up third down and long.
Interesting. That's that option play we're waiting to see out of this offense. And last week, Troy completely shut that option down. early in this game, too. It looks like South Alabama has it figured out. They need to get more bodies over there. Brings up a third down now, and it's a passing situation, and this is not the situation you want Justin Tomlin in. He's an able passer, but not proficient. You want to have him in the ball 30 short.
Tomlin scrambles to his left, throws on the run, incomplete. Fourth down, and the USA defense delivers again.
Yeah, good stop. You know, you're making quick work of every time that Georgia Southern offense gets the football. Lots of good pressure. Jamal Brooks there in the quarterback's face, and that's something you just can't get through. You got to win on first down. You got to win on second down. You got to provide short yardage conversions for Justin Tomlin in this offense.
That's 2 possessions, 2 3-and-outs for Georgia Southern. 6 plays, 1 total yard. It sends out Anthony Beck, the second, the punter. Back deep, it's Jalen Tolbert for South Alabama. Calls for the fair catch. Jags back to work. Back in Mobile, South Alabama leads a huge college football Saturday lineup on ABC and the ESPN app. It all starts at noon Eastern. Get a look at number 3 Cincinnati hosting UCF. Then number 2 Iowa hosts Purdue. And in our Saturday night game presented by Capital One, 4 Oklahoma looks to avoid a post-Longhorn letdown as they host TCU. Come back on Saturday on ESPN and see maybe 3 of the 4 teams that would make the college football playoff right now. Here in Mobile, we've got South Alabama, Georgia Southern. The Jaguars scored on their opening drive. It was a 12-yard jump by the quarterback, Jake Bentley, who's in the shotgun on first down. Bentley to throw over the middle. It's dropped by his most reliable receiver, Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah, and that's a miss, honestly. A little bit behind Tolbert on that quick slant route. Just got to put it right in front of him. Yeah, Tolbert should come down with it because he's that good, but a little bit better accuracy is expected from Jake Bentley on that throw. And you saw that last play, 2 tight ends in the game. That's a staple of the South Alabama offense. Now they go 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers.
Motion man, the tight end, Brandon Crum. Screen pass on second down and 10. There's Tolbert. He's dangerous, and he's got the first down.
Yeah, and something as simple as just getting the ball out in Tolbert's hands in space with the blocker in front of him. You got to make a guy miss. He does that. Uses the sideline to his advantage, works his way upfield, and that's a good way to get Jake Bentley some confidence. You know, scored on the ground that opening drive. A little bit late on that first pass of this one. Jalen Tolbert, if he gets going, he's dangerous.
That was an 11-yard gain for Tolbert, just adding to his program record above 2,200 career receiving yards. Out route. That time Bentley missed him.
And you're seeing a little bit timing issues between Bentley and Tolbert, and those two have been working together really well. In fact, Major Applewhite told us the story of the first day he got on campus, who was waiting for him in his offense. It was Jake Bentley and Jalen Tolbert. And questions about certain plays, said, well, let me get my stuff unpacked first before we go there. So it's surprising to see them off the mark.
Bentley turns and gives Brian Hill, the running back. He's got a short gain on second down of 1 yard.
Yeah, we talked earlier a little bit about the running back situation for South Alabama. Kareem Walker, the transfer in from Mississippi State, he's their first guy. He's their main guy. He's been hurt. Brian Hill, coach's son, his dad is the running backs coach. He's the most reliable guy, and he's really earned his way into this lineup. You saw him in that last carry.
Hill still the running back on third down and 8. Bentley pumps once, throws middle, got a man, complete. It's Jalen Wayne on the big chunk for South Alabama, 37 yards.
Yeah, don't get confused. There's Jalen Wayne and then Jalen Tolbert. This one's the number 0. Jalen Wayne, maybe a little bit the bigger of the two, but he just sits right back in that zone, and good connection. Pick up the first down by Jake Bentley.
Bentley now 5 for 8 for 90 yards plus that 12-yard rushing touchdown. On first down, the hand is back to Brian Hill for a short gain on first down. So, Mark, you mentioned don't get confused with the two Jalens. A good piece of advice here for Jake Bentley, just throw it to Jalen.
Yeah, if their name is Jalen, they might as well throw it to him because they are both really good receivers. Mentioned Jalen Wayne, a little bit bigger, kind of the guy who go for the jump ball. Jalen Tolbert, he has a skill set that he can play little running back. He can get the hand sweeps. He can catch the ball in the slot, and he can go deep on you too. He's an all-round wide receiver.
This time they set up Tolbert on the screen pass to the right side on this play, and he's got another big chunk, 12 yards. Move the sticks again for South Alabama.
Yeah. Pass to Jalen Tolbert, and you see Cade Sutherland, number 12, out in front. He's been there twice in that blocking situation. So, you know, if I'm the defense for Georgia Southern and I see number 8 lined up behind number 12 out on the side, you got to think that screen pass is coming.
Bentley is already over 100 yards for the day. 6 of 9, 102. Really nice start for the quarterback. Tolbert's in motion, keep an eye on it. Bentley fakes it to him and throws it away. Parker Devine on the pressure for Georgia Southern.
He really did throw that one away, and there was a receiver kind of near the sideline, but that ball was out in the stands. And see, there you go. I thought it might be a little bit high. You got to throw it at least near the field of play.
Call you Hertzstradamus. Know exactly what's happening in the referees' minds.
Yeah, that's a good call, and that's going to up, and that's something that you expect. You expect your quarterback with this much experience to know better than that, quite honestly. Brings up second and very long now. Expect to see some pressure out of the Georgia Southern defense.
Second down and long. The Eagles do bring a little bit of pressure. Pass complete to Jalen. Gang tackled by 2 Eagles. First guy in there, Seth Robertson.
Yeah, pressure picked up pretty well. Kind of a cross-dog blitz with the 2 inside linebackers. You see 34 go first, then 11 follows right behind. Good job by the offensive line picking up that pressure. They've seen it on film and picked up a completion. And now, you know, third and a little bit better, right? 3rd and 12, still tough down. Wouldn't be surprised again. Force the ball out fast, bring more pressure.
Bentley to throw. They pick up the blitz, floats it toward the corner. Jump ball, incomplete. He was looking for Tolbert, who was matched up one-on-one with Najee Thompson.
And Najee Thompson, he had the ball. I mean, he was in perfect position to come down with that interception. And good job, good focus, good discipline. Got a little bit of a grab, but good recovery. And right there, yeah, that's a play you got to make. You absolutely have to come down with that. And you only have gained 5 turnovers all season, and that's why. You can't drop interceptions.
Got to give Jalen Tolbert a PBU there on the incompletion. 42-yard attempt for the kicker, Diego Guajardo, and that's good. Guajardo is pure from 40-plus, and Alabama has a 2-score lead.
Yeah, South Alabama, you know, 10 points in the first quarter. That's foreign territory. They've only scored 7 points in the first quarter this entire season combined. So they are not a team that starts very fast, and that's something that was a point of emphasis. That was a point of emphasis by Kane Womack and Major Applewhite, and they have shown up and put some points on the board in this first quarter.
Jalen, a star wide receiver, is a big reason why. He's already got 3 catches for 43 yards. You see Kane Womack in his first year as the head man at South Alabama. Youngest head coach in FBS, all 130 programs. No one is younger than Kane Womack at 34 years old. He spent the last 3 years in Bloomington. And that Indiana defense last year, Mark, a big reason why Womack was a head coaching candidate.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they really turned that Indiana program around. And, you know, finished in top 20 in the polls last year. He's a guy that he is so invigorated too about this entire program, about being in Mobile. He loves it there.
Caleb Hood on the return, and he gets popped near the 15, and a flag comes in. Kyle Olson is our referee tonight.
In the return, personal foul, targeting, kicking team, number 5. Previous plays under video review.
Well, you almost expect to see you almost expect to see a flag on big hits. I don't know. I don't. Let's check here. It's not on 5, that's for sure. Could it be on 21?
Yeah, number 5 is Yam Banks.
Yeah, and to me it looks like 21. Zion McGee kind of ducked underneath the block, and that's why his head was lowered. You know, this is not a defenseless player, so it has to be with the crown of the helmet. Really could be any part of the body. To me, the side of the helmet, I think that they overturned this, and I don't think they make this a targeting call.
After video review, there is no targeting. First down, Georgia Southern.
All right, so Yam Banks can breathe a sigh of relief. He's wearing number 5 tonight. That's a number of honor in this South Alabama program. To honor Anthony Mostella, team captain for USA, who passed away in 2010. Banks is wearing number 5 tonight, and that's a huge deal for Kane Wommack in South Alabama. He is one of their best defensive players playing special teams. Nearly got tossed for the night, Mark.
Yeah, and that would have been a big loss, too. He's their starting Husky position, basically nickel position on that South Alabama defense. And
another look at Georgia Southern's triple option. There's a new quarterback in the game. That's Cam Ransom, who makes the pitch to J.D. King on first down. So Ransom in game, that's a loss of 3. Ransom's a true freshman out of Lakeland, Florida, who's already burned his red shirt. They figure we might as well get him some reps.
Yeah, and Cam Ransom, you can't tell on this play, but he's a lefty. So it's going to be a little bit different offense with him in. And good job by J.D. King just controlling that pitch. That play is basically a lead option, lead speed option. Has not worked at all the last 2 weeks, and they picked up a loss on that one.
Running back is Logan Wright. Ransom drops back, evades the rush, and short arms the throw. He was looking for the tight end, Bo Johnson, and it brings up 3rd down and 12. Georgia Southern's gone 3 and out on its first 2 possessions.
Yeah, and Cam Ransom, he's not in because of the kind of inefficiency on offense so far. You see the obviously lopsided yardage. It's kind of a plan of Doug Roos to rotate his quarterbacks in. He likes what Ransom can do. He's a true freshman. First time he actually saw campus when he walked on and enrolled, and this is a big chance for him to make a big play on 3rd down.
South Alabama's defense, and I know you saw that.
False start, offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's the center, Logan Langmeyer, on the false start. So 3rd down and forever. And Mark, this is really where Georgia Southern does not want to be. They run the triple option. They're last in the conference in passing yards per game. Not only are they down 10, now they're in 3rd down and long.
Yeah, and it really needs to take an opportunity for Doug Roos to tell Cam Ransom not to force the football. You got a true freshman in this situation. He wants to make the most of his opportunity, but you cannot turn the ball over right now with the way that South Alabama is moving and scoring the football.
3rd and long for Georgia Southern, and they'll pick up none of it. Pass is a little low for Caleb Hood, the slot wide out on the screen, and it's another 3 and out for the Eagles.
Yeah, just nothing going offensively right now, whether it's Justin Tomlin, Cam Ransom, and credit to South Alabama's defense. They seemingly have Georgia Southern's offense completely figured out, and something's going to need to change. Maybe take a couple shots downfield just to loosen them up a little bit on their next time they get the football.
Another punt for Anthony Beck in Georgia Southern. Tolbert back there deep to receive. Fair catch. And South Alabama, already up 10, starts at 45-yard line. It's a big-time weekend for college football. Clemson at Syracuse. The Orange have been known to knock off the Tigers when they come to the Carrier Dome. Oregon in action as well. Big-time matchup in the American, Mark. UCF and Cincinnati, kind of the old royalty in that conference against the new.
Yeah, no, absolutely is. And it's kind of weird seeing Clemson with no number next to them, right?
Right.
They're now unranked. It's been a long time since we've seen that, but yeah, you're right. That Cincinnati game, Cincinnati is just trying to prove that they belong in that playoff conversation, and they're going to have to obviously win out to get there. UCF's going to be a tough match. Potent offense.
I guess Malzahn usually has a few tricks up his sleeve. He's
Sure
the
does.
best team in his conference. Bentley starts in the pistol on first down. Play fake, looks to throw, plenty of space for guess who? Jalen Tolbert steps through a tackle and he's inside the 30, 27 yards.
And it's very apparent what's going on right now. Georgia Southern feels like they need to pressure the quarterback. The offensive line has done a fantastic job of giving Jake Bentley enough time to look downfield, and what happens when you bring pressure? You're going to leave guys in zones vacated. Good job by Jake Bentley consistently finding them.
First and 10. They keep it on the ground. Beyond Avery, who's been dealing with some injury issues. Good to see him back on the field. He picks up 6 on first down.
Yeah, a little shoulder separation. I say little shoulder separation, but a shoulder separation. And you know, he's had some trouble in practice just holding on to the football. And Major Applewhite said, look, I'm going to be conservative. If I see at all the ball starts to kind of move away from his body, not cure, they're going to have to take him out. And look, so far, like he's done a good job of holding that football and picking up yards.
Last play of the quarter for South. On the ground again, it's Avery, and that'll set up third down and short. Reed Dedman comes in to make the stop on second down. So South Alabama has really struggled to score in the first quarter through the first 5 games of the season. They missed that tonight. They've got 10 points already against Georgia Southern, looking to knock off the Eagles for the first time in this series. South Alabama leads 10-0. Jake Bentley, a good scheme for him on offense. Ball to number 8, Jalen Tolbert, South Alabama's all-time leading receiver for career yardage. He's got 4 catches already through 1 quarter.
Yeah, 4 catches for 69 yards, averaging 17 yards per catch. That's not bad. That's not a bad stat line for the first quarter.
South Alabama starts the second with a third down and 3. They fake the give, they go to the air. It's the tight end Crum inside the 10-yard line.
Good job in the play fake. Jake Bentley, good job leaving the ball in there for a little extra time. Crum just leaks out in the flat and outruns the linebacker, picks up the first down.
First and goal. The give is back to Terrion Avery. By the way, Brandon Crum is the first guy not named Jalen to catch a pass tonight for South Alabama. Bentley's first 8 completions, 4 to Tolbert, and 4 to... Now he gets 1 to Crum.
We talk about the completions of the outside guys. You got to look at Georgia Southern. They've lost some players on the outside, and notably Derek Canteen, their top cornerback. He was injured, torn his pec, and he's not in this game, obviously.
On second down, Bentley to throw. Gets rid of it to bring up third down. Yeah, Mark, you mentioned Derek Canteen. He tied for the national lead in interceptions last year with 6. They've got a lot of injuries. Both of their starting inside backers as well, and that's what you got to do is double team number 8.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to get down in the red zone. I mean, it's very obvious who the top targets are. Jalen Wayne, Jalen Tolbert. I wouldn't be surprised. You double both these guys. You double both of them. You take them away, make them make a play with somebody else.
South Alabama is missing Colin Lacey, one of their best offensive weapons, too. Bentley to throw. Escapes the rush. He's got 1. Down 10. Goes airborne for number 2 and 6 for the Jags.
And well, outbound that Jake Bentley, he's fired up. He does it on the ground. Georgia Southern did exactly what we thought. They doubled both outside guys. That left nobody in the middle to be responsible for the quarterback. The scouting report says he's not going to pull the ball down and run very much. Well, guess what? Twice so far in this first half, he's done that and resulted in 6 points.
You're right. typically not a threat to run. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns tonight. That is a career high, and we just started the second quarter. Extra point is good for Diego Guajardo. Jake Bentley, get your airplane tickets. Couldn't draw up a better start for Alabama on a Thursday night at home against Georgia Southern, a team they've never beaten. It is Jags 17, Eagles zip. 1 minute into the second quarter. Drew Carter back alongside Mark Hertzlich as South Alabama gets ready to kick it away to Georgia Southern, a team that runs the triple option. Not really known for airing the ball out, so we'll see how they come back from a 17-point hole. It's a touchback on the kickoff, and Mark, let's go back to that touchdown.
Yeah, Georgia Southern comes out and plays cover 2. You see the safety bottom of the screen is going to play over Jalen Tolbert on the bottom, and then the middle linebacker playing that cover 2. He's responsible for the middle of the field, so he's bailing out there. No one's left, right? No one is left in the middle of the field. It looked like Anthony Wilson was in that other curl drop. He got a little bit too deep in his drop and allowed a really good, clean running lane for Jake Bentley. And Jake Bentley pulled the ball, and he saw it, he took it, and went airborne.
You know, Mark, I don't think anyone was really expecting Jake Bentley to burn them with his legs. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns already tonight, though, for the first time in his 6-year college career. Georgia Southern puts Justin Tomlin back in at quarterback. Short pass on first down. And the Eagles, with that 2-yard gain to Bo Johnson, just surpassed their entire yardage total from the first quarter when they had 1.
Yeah, just not good. And nothing's been working. And last week, early in the game, it was the offensive line not being stout up the middle. And they were unable to get their inside zone game working. They were unable to also do play action off of that. Some more of the same tonight. Just haven't been able to get anything established up the middle, and that doesn't open up any lanes for passes to go.
We saw the offensive coordinator, Doug Ruse, who dials up a design run for his quarterback, Tomlin, on second down.
Yeah, Doug Ruse, talked heavily to us about that lack of ability to run the ball early in the game, and they got more running really out of Logan Wright towards the end of the game than they got from any other running back that they had, with just the big pounding runs right up the middle. And if they wait too long to get anything going, they're going to be this game.
3rd and 6. Tomlin, straight drop. Throws on the run. Picked off. Intercepted by South Alabama. That's number 14, C.J. Rias.
Yeah, C.J. Rias basically plays the wolf position for them, which is defensive end, outside linebacker. But one thing they have with these guys is they really can drop into coverage, and it's more of that strong safety outside linebacker, nickelback position, the hybrid. Great job of just getting depth in his flat drop. And no place for Justin Tomlin to throw it. I mean, Justin Tomlin sees the cover 3 coverage, sees a guy in the flat, thinks he has an open window. And honestly, I don't know whether he was throwing it to J.J. McAfee or his running back, Gerald Green. They're 2 guys in the same zone. Not a good throw, not a good decision.
Ended up with C.J. Rias, who not only got the pick, got some Mardi Gras beats to throw into the stands. Bentley trying to take advantage, and he does! Jalen Tolbert, boom! South Alabama all over Georgia Southern.
This is starting to look a little bit ugly, Drew. I mean, man, Georgia Southern, it's been hit after hit. If this was that heavyweight fight we saw the other night, I don't know. Either guy would be getting up off the mats, but they're going to have to. They are going to have to. Down 23 after this extra point, maybe 24 points, and you got a whole 3 quarters basically left to play football and figure out just some way to hold on to the football and sustain drives.
After C.J. Rias' first career interception, it sets up South Alabama for a 1-play, 40-yard drive. Another touchdown for the Jags. Hey folks, kick off your Week 6 NFL Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific with the Countdown Crew on ESPN and the app. They've got all the injury updates and breaking news, taking you right up to kickoff. Then our Monday Night Football matchup has Josh Allen and maybe the new Super Bowl favorites in Tennessee, taking on Derrick Henry and the Titans. Bet the over. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Our coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. Should be a lot of points in that one. A lot of points in this one. South Alabama, Georgia Southern, but they've all come for one team. USA is up 24-zip over GS. Eagles start at the 25. Mark Hertzlake, if you're Georgia Southern, you run the triple option, you're down 24 points. What are you doing on offense here?
Well, I think you get to the triple option. We've yet to see it. It's been the speed option with the lead running backs in front of it. The triple option presents problems for defenses. And right now, there have been no problems presented for South Alabama's defense at all. So you got to get the running game going. I mean, Georgia Southern has never beaten a team when being outrushed in the game. So far, they are being outrushed in this game, 51 yards to 4. Only 4 yards rushing for Georgia Southern.
Justin Tomlin, the quarterback, hands it off to Gerald Green on first down as the Eagles continue to try to get that ground game cooking.
And it's going to start up front. You got to get a fire lit under the behinds of this Georgia Southern offensive line. I mean, they got some big boys up there that need to start moving some bodies. Now, South Alabama's D-line might be one of the best in the conference, but you got to make some movement happen.
And the give to Green on second down. Runs out of one tackle, and he's chopped down after a short gain on second. It's Devin Rocket coming in. There is a flag on the play.
Holding. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Yeah, there was a holding on that play, and that happens when your running back bounces outside. That play is designed to go up the middle. Gerald Green saw some green grass. Wasn't able to get out there without causing a holding call, and quite honestly, he missed the hole up the middle. You know, sometimes it takes those 3-4 yard runs up the middle or in the proper gap to get this thing moving, but losing 10 yards, you just can't have that.
They're behind the sticks again. Down in 16. Tomlin is wrangled down by Chris Henderson, the starting Wolf on this South Alabama defense. It's another third down and long.
Yeah, that Wolf position's having a heck of a day. But look, this is not a triple option. First of all, went the wrong way to start off. Justin Tomlin did. Second off, there's no dive option. And third, you're out of phase with your running back. So even if you do decide to pitch it, because you went the wrong way to start, you got no pitch option. So that just becomes a quarterback naked with no blockers, easy stop.
Good luck on third down against Ken Wanda, the Alabama defense. Best in the country. Tomlin airs it out. Broken up at the last second. Great play by Ryan Melton. Slid into the starting lineup tonight. Makes a big play on third down.
Yeah, he does. And Justin Tomlin had Sam Kennerson deep. Kennerson had the defensive back beat. Just ball was a little bit underthrown. And again, you bring up 3rd and 16. It just puts a lot of pressure, unnecessary pressure on your quarterback. And you know, these little nuances, these are the things that have to get themselves out by week 7. It just has to happen, or you're going to end up in this position completely outmatched right now by South Alabama.
Back into punt again.
Flag down, looks like.
Tolbert lets it bounce near midfield. We'll check on that penalty.
Ooh, and Beck's
Anthony
hurt.
Beck is down in a heap, and it's hard to injure that guy. He's 6'4", 230, one of the biggest punters you'll see in the country.
There are multiple fouls on the play, both by the defense. Legal substitution, defense, more than 11 players on the field at the time of the snap. running into the kicker. Defense. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. 4th down.
Not a total killer here because it's still 4th down, Mark.
Yeah, not a total killer, and this is. It's he left that leg up there a little bit. He did go down, and I'm hoping that he's just kind of milking that a little bit, because the problem becomes now if he has to punt the ball again, right? And you get 5 yards, that still doesn't give you a 1st down. It'll be interesting to see if Anthony Beck's able to go on this next play, and obviously he was injured, helped off the field, so Georgia Southern might have to use a timeout in order to get their punter back on the field. And I think that's what's being discussed right now, whether they're able to decline that penalty and leave the ball down there and give their punter a little bit more time, or they're going to send him back out there and kick it again. Looks like he's all right.
There's really nothing you can do on 4th and 11 inside your own territory. So Kevin Whitley, the interim head coach, sends the punt unit back out onto the field, and Anthony Beck rubs a little dirt on it. He's ready to go again. Beck stays clean this time. Fair catch called for and hauled in by Tolbert at the 30. Back at Hancock Whitney Stadium, we check out the slate this weekend. Lots of good games. You can see Cincinnati and Iowa in action, Florida and LSU, solid game in the SEC. Should be a fun weekend of college football, Mark.
Yeah, man, watching that Iowa-Penn State game last week, I mean, what a battle that was. And I mean, Iowa, just the way they're able to run the football and their defense, they are such a fun kind of old-school throwback team to watch.
Undefeated, certainly a strong contender in the college football playoff, but anything can happen any given week in the Big Ten. On 1st down, Jake Bentley swings it out to his wideout, Jalen Tolbert. He picks up 3 yards on 1st down. That has been the money connection so far tonight.
Yeah, it has. Gosh, I mean, you talk about the Big Ten, anything can happen any game. It feels like all of college football. That's the case this year. I mean, you got to watch every single game because you never know. I mean, you just never know when a top dog's going to fall or something like that. And you never know when a South Alabama team is just absolutely catch fire and put up 24 in the 1st half.
South Alabama is a team that's kind of been struggling to start these games, but not tonight. Bentley airs it out wide open over the middle. Big chunk for the Jaguars. Jajuan Townsend inside the 5.
Wow, yeah. Major Applewhite, he's looking down at his play card and saying, yep, that'll work, that'll work, that'll work. Look at the pocket. Jake Bentley has all the time in the world to throw the ball downfield. Finds his true freshman, Townsend, and just off to the races. Good tackle by Deontay Bembry, but just like that, they're right down the 5-yard line. This is, we would have said this pregame, but this is the spot where you got to watch out for Jake Bentley running the ball.
That's right, Mark. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns tonight. First time in his career with multiple rushing touchdowns. This time he throws, though, off the back foot. It's on the money. Touchdown, Jalen Wayne.
And, if I'm Kevin Whitley, head coach for Georgia Southern right now, I'm getting his team together on the sideline, and I'm reminding him, look, last week we were down 24-3. We marched all the way back, and they tied it up 24-24. And you just have to put that thought in the mind of your team, because right now it doesn't feel like they can win this game. It really doesn't. But one play here, one ball bounce their direction, can get a little bit of momentum. You just need to have belief. What a connection, though. Jake Bentley, I think he's found his spot. I think he found his offensive coordinator. Him and Major Applewhite, they are connected.
Fajardo's extra point is good. 31-zip, Alabama. Jake Bentley, 2 on the ground, 2 through the air. All Jacks. All right, for Georgia Southern fans feeling down right now, we've got good news. Last week, the Eagles down 24-3 in the third quarter. Justin Tomlin finds Derwin Burgess, 57 yards, sets up a touchdown. Later in the third, Caleb Hood, 23-yard touchdown run. Georgia Southern within a score. They came up just short, though, after a Tomlin interception, and Troy kicks the game-winning field goal. But the bottom line there, moral of the story, is they were down 24-3. They came all the way back and tied it. Now down 31-0. They need another big-time comeback.
Yeah, and that comeback, right? We talked to Kevin Whitley, and he basically said, look, our team needed a spark. They needed a spark to start having confidence and get going. And for some reason, that Derwin Burgess long catch, broke tackle, and run, that changed the whole game. And it was, you think about last week to that first quarter, the first 2 drives for Georgia Southern were 3 and outs. Only 7 plays total in that first quarter, and he got his team to turn it around. You know, it has to happen now. This is the time. 31-0. Even bigger deficit, but you got to start on this drive, and it all starts on first down. Get 4 yards. Get 4 yards, and just don't lose yards.
Justin Tomlin is the quarterback. Speed to the left. And that's a solid gain on first down. Georgia Southern just going to stick with what they do. The head coach, as you said, is the interim Kevin Whitley, who came in and he doesn't want to change a whole lot, but instituting his new culture after Chad Lunsford was let go after those 4 games, their 1-3 start.
Yeah, he definitely wanted a little bit of a culture change, and this is a guy. I mean, this is his 3rd year coaching college football, and a very successful high school coach, head coach for 18 years, but he talked about, I'm in this situation. I feel like I've been blessed to be in this situation. I want to do the best thing I can for this team, and we talked about get 4 yards on first down. They got exactly 4 yards on first down. Small pickup on second down, but 3rd and 4 looks a whole lot better than 3rd and 12 and 17, which they've been facing lately.
Justin Tomlin, Whitley's quarterback, is from Decatur, Georgia, just like his new head coach. He faces 3rd down and 4. The give is to Logan Wright. He pushes the pile for a first down. And the Eagles move the sticks.
And this is the recipe they had last week. They might have started a little bit too late, but they ran the option into the boundary. They tried to limit the number of defenders that were going to be on that option side, and then they handed the ball off to Logan Wright. I mean, you see the power that guy has. He is a banger. He's a leader and he's a banger. He can pick up those tough yards.
First down tonight. Back to the big man, right? 6'2", 230 on first down. Brought down by Keith Gallman, the vocal leader of this South Alabama defense.
Yeah, and you're going to see a steady recipe of handing the ball off to Wright and handing the ball off to probably Jalen White, bigger backs that can come in. But I don't expect them to see them put the ball in the air much unless it's in the flat or a quick pass out to a wide receiver.
2nd and 7. Again, it's Wright who gets the call. Wykevius Thomas comes in to make the stop for USA. And another 3rd down. But here we see, Mark, Georgia Southern is in front of the chains for the first time tonight.
Yeah, they are. And not only are they in front of the chains, but their defense is doing something that their defense desperately needs to do, is to catch their breath. I mean, it seems like every single time Georgia Southern's offense has been on the field, it's been 3 and out, so the defense has just been scorched with the big plays, getting the ball thrown over their heads.
3rd down, Wright one more time. And that play call is Wright, as he's at midfield for 7 yards and a first down for the Eagles. So now they're building a little momentum.
Georgia Southern.
Yeah, we talk about number 2, Jordan Wright. I mean, this game actually in 2019, he broke his neck. And, he rehabbed and worked hard to get back on the field. And, I mean, you see just his physical presence looking healthy. Good running.
He gets a well-deserved breather here on first down. Tomlin goes to the air on the in-breaking route. Just missed his man, Derwin Burgess Jr., who had that game-breaking play last week against Troy that really flipped the script.
Yeah, and they had this one. They really did, and just a little bit too far out in front, a little bit too high. But it's plays like that. You get the play action, you get the run game going, and then all of a sudden the linebackers are a little bit slower to get in their drops. You might be able to squeeze one of those in on the dig. It's tough on first down because the way this offense is going, you need to gain yards on first down.
Wright is back in there. Tomlin hands it to him, and he's going nowhere. They call it the swarm defense at South Alabama, and that's what the Jaguars did on second down. Chris Henderson in there first.
Yeah, and I got to say, we've put a lot of blame on Georgia Southern's offense. However, this South Alabama defense, you talk about the swarm D. I mean, these are guys who fly to the football. They are really good up front. This defensive line sets the tone, and they have some guys. I mean, they have some dudes on that defensive line. Whether it's 48, Janoris Johnson, or Wakevius Thomas, who they call Bubba, number 99 in there. I mean, they got some dudes, and it's hard to run against them. And they have shown so far in this game why this defense, they expect to be top defense in their league.
3rd and 12. Tomlin throws over the middle. Pass caught. Refusing to go down, Emil Smith, but it does bring up 4th down.
Yeah, good pickup, and you absolutely have to go for this. You don't really get to punt the ball away when you're down 31, even if it's the second quarter. And to me, this is an option play. First option, hand the ball off to number 2. Second option, 17 keeps it.
They go for it a lot. Here's a 4th down attempt for Georgia Southern. The pitch to Hood. He's got a first down. Tiptoes down the sideline, and Hood thought he stayed in bounds and would have had 6.
Yeah, and they speed option, and it worked. It worked. This is the first time they've got that speed option where they've gained numbers. Really good job on the offensive line by Caleb Kelly, the right tackle, getting up on the linebacker. And you see Hood step out. Let's see where
did he stay on those toes?
Initially, I thought it was clear that he had stepped out, but if that right foot right there didn't step out, it looks like there's a little grass in between it.
Yeah. Wow. Either way, that is incredible balance. First down, Georgia Southern. They pick 3 of them on this drive as Tomlin tucks it and runs for a short scramble on first.
The Georgia Southern fans right now are saying, where was this in the first quarter? Like, where was this offense? And, to Kevin Whitley's point, something sparked it. And whether it was getting beat on those 2 easy touchdown passes or what it was, something sparked this drive in this offense. And they get back into a corner, they're going to fight. And that's a credit to Kevin Whitley and the way he's leading this team.
Blown up as he throws, and the throw is on time and on target to Amari Jones. The running back out of the backfield brings it in, and the Eagles are inside the 10.
Man, Justin Tomlin got absolutely lit up.
Timeout on the field for a player injury.
And that's not Justin Tomlin who's down. That is Justin Tomlin who's down. I'm sorry. There's another defender down all the way back towards the goal line as well. So there's a couple players who are either catch their breath or just regain feeling in something. I don't know what it is.
That's Sean Steele down for South Alabama. Justin Tomlin, the quarterback, is down for Georgia Southern. He got popped by Trey Kaiser just as he let that pass go. And Mark, you got to give him a lot of credit. He's a run-first quarterback, but that time he stayed in the pocket until the last second, and he found his open man.
It was a great throw. It was a great throw, a great job getting the ball out, and a great job of finding Amari Jones. You mentioned, look at 22. Just sneaks right up in there and gets a pop. And that ball just floated right in. It was, this is one that he'll feel it tomorrow. And that's a clean hit. Not with the crown of the helmet. Nothing wrong with that hit. But, there's the other option. Cam Ransom, we saw him earlier in the game. I would expect to see Justin Tomlin back. He's a tough guy.
Freshman lefty quarterback keeps it after the busted play, and he still nearly scores. Jags defense comes up right on the doorstep to stop Ransom. That was Davin Flanord who made the stop.
You talk about the difference between a righty and a lefty quarterback, and that's it. You just saw it. The option goes the other way. You got to open up the other way because that's the way his arm can go to make that quick pass to the outside, right? It's a little bit different. As a running back, you have to know who's in there at quarterback, and a little miscommunication.
15th play of the drive for Georgia Southern, and it goes nowhere. The give was to Logan Wright as they set up shop here inside the 10. Jamal Hickbottom lost his helmet for South Alabama, but the Eagles could really use some points here, Mark.
They absolutely could. Last time they had that 4th and 1 to have it, they ran the speed option. Ransom's not necessarily the fastest quarterback, but he is big, 6'3", 220. We'll see what they decide to dial up from the 2-yard line.
South Alabama going to take a moment to think about it. One of the best red zone defenses in the country.
Yeah, and they're good. This red zone defense it's predicated around stopping the perimeter. We talked to Kane Womack on kind of how this red zone defense developed, and at first it was really a bare front. You get 5 defensive linemen up in the line, you stop the run and go one-on-one on the outside, and as teams develop to the spread option and the option and the RPOs, really they had to bracket the outside. So you expect to see some bracket coverage on the outside, a little bit of what they call simulated pressure, where they bring a linebacker, drop a defensive lineman out in coverage, and try to stop them that way.
Good news for Georgia Southern. Justin Tomlin is back on the field after he took that huge shot from Trey Kaiser on the pass that brought them inside the 10-yard line.
South Alabama back in that bare front, 5 guys in the line of scrimmage.
Tomlin gives J.D. King twists out of a tackle and waltzes in. J.D. King puts the Eagles on the board, just what the doctor ordered.
And Yam Banks, they had J.D. King dead to rights in the backfield. You see number 5 come through the line of scrimmage. But great job of J.D. King, not letting his feet get caught up, letting his big 5'11", 215-pound body spin around and find the end zone. And that drive right there is exactly what Georgia Southern needed. They needed points, but they needed to do it on a sustained drive. And right now they're going to go for more.
Eagles go for 2. Tomlin to throw over the middle. It's caught. 2-point conversion to Amari Jones. And Georgia Southern's feeling a little juiced right now.
Yeah, they are. And good job. You talk about changing game plans at halftime. Well, they couldn't wait till halftime. Doug Ruse got out of that initial game plan. He kind of threw away that sheet that he had in the beginning of the game and went back to his bread and butter. What works? Let's get the running game going. And let's find our most versatile player, Amari Jones. He did that twice. Touchdown, 2 points.
Now, Amari Jones is versatile. To transfer from Tulane, who actually started the season opener at quarterback for Georgia Southern this year.
Yeah.
He went 4 for 7 through the air. He's kind of a hybrid wide receiver running back.
Yeah, well, and didn't just start the season as a quarterback. He was the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And game 1 versus Gardner-Webb. And how does a transfer come in and do that? Well, his freshman year in 2018, Doug Ruse was at Tulane, where Amari Jones was as well. So he's very familiar with this offense. And when they found out Justin Tomlin was academically ineligible for that first 2 weeks, they said, okay, gosh, man, who knows this offense? Because Cam Ransom doesn't. He's a true freshman. Mari Jones, he's versatile, he's athletic, he knows the offense. Put him in there, and they picked up the win.
Williams' kick bounces into the end zone, and South Alabama starts at the 25. So Georgia Southern went from dead to having a little life here after that drive, which was 16 plays, 75 yards, more than 7 minutes off the clock. Before this mark, they had 5 total yards on their first 5 drives.
Yeah, it's not the way you want to start any football game, but I don't know if you're a fan of the old Monty Python movies, but I'm not dead yet, and they're not dead yet. They got some life, and man, if they could come up with a stop here, you think about momentum shifts, and South Alabama was riding so high, and if you could stop the offense here, you get a little momentum going in half. Just a little.
Just a flesh wound for Georgia Southern, down 31-0. South Alabama back to work on offense in the 2-minute drill. Brian Hill made a couple men miss. Edwards in there to finish him off for a loss of 1.
And, looks like a different team. I mean, I'm watching a different football game than I watched in the first 20 minutes of football. I mean, it really looks like a different team, and, South Alabama has got to be careful. Don't be too conservative on this drive. You got to prove that you can still move the ball.
Saw Scott Sloan, the defensive coordinator for Georgia Southern, for his team to tighten up down the stretch of this first half.
Those last 2 plays, those were both made by the true freshman inside linebackers for that Georgia Southern team. You got Michael Edwards and Eldrick Robinson both in there because the 2 starting inside linebackers are going to miss the entire season. These guys are amped up. I mean, I'm sure Kevin Whitley said, stop looking at the scoreboard, just play one play at a time. And at 3rd and 12, they're able to pick up a stop here, get the ball back, possibly score 3 points. Hey, baby. Did we ever repeat of last week with the comeback?
You might be glad you stuck around for the remainder of this game. Hey folks, huge college football Saturday lineup on ABC and the ESPN app. It all starts at noon Eastern with number 3 Cincinnati hosting UCF, and number 2 Iowa hosting Purdue, and our Saturday night game presented by Capital One. We go to Norman. Number 4 Oklahoma looking to avoid a post-Red River shootout letdown as they host TCU. Georgia Southern just called a timeout. The Eagles want more points before they go to the locker room. They do get the ball first to start the second half. 3rd and 12 for Georgia. Here comes the heat, and he is dumped. Justin Ellis on the stop for Georgia Southern.
And there it goes. You bring a little pressure, bring a linebacker, miscommunication on the offensive line, and no time for Jake Bentley to get the ball downfield. He had a couple receivers running deep one-on-one, and I mean, just like that, we're going to get Georgia Southern with the football back in their hands with just under a minute left to play and with a lot of momentum on their side.
Remember, Georgia Southern last year had to come from behind in the 4th quarter to beat South Alabama and stay perfect in this all-time series, 7 wins to 0. And the Eagles have a little momentum now after a 16-play, 75-yard drive for their first points of the game. They convert the 2-point conversion. They force a 3-and-out on 3 straight plays that lose yards for the Jaguars. And now USA's got to punt it away.
And a little bit conservative on the play calling by Major Applewhite. 2 runs and obviously took that set.
Jack Brooks on the punt for South Alabama. Caleb Hurd lets it bounce. 64-yard punt for Brooks, the sophomore out of Wagga Wagga, Australia. So Georgia Southern pinned deep for their final drive of this first half. Basically everything they've done in this first half offensively was on that last drive. All 4 downs on the last drive. 75 of their 85 yards on the last drive for Georgia Southern. And we'll see if they can maintain that momentum into this one.
Yeah, and you got to do it smart, right? That last drive was built around the ground game. And this is not a situation where you want Justin Tomlin to be putting the ball in danger and kind of losing some of the momentum you have on the side. If you can break a big run, great. If not, you got to be satisfied going into halftime without turning the ball over.
Give us to Logan Wright on the first play of this drive. Gain of 3 on first. Eagles took a timeout on South Alabama's offensive possession. Want to give themselves time to try to score before the break. Tomlin throws the out route. It's hauled in. Nice catch by Jones, who made a nice catch on the last possession too. 3rd down and short.
Yeah, really good catch. Really good throw. I mean, Justin Tomlin with the arm strength to get the ball all the way out there on the rope. He has that arm strength. I just don't know if he has the same confidence in the throws over the middle, but this is a point right now, 3rd and 5. You pick one up, you get around midfield, you pick up another 10, 15 yards, try a long field goal.
Tomlin flush, look out. Wow, plants his foot and picks up the first down. Impressive scramble from Justin Tomlin.
Yeah, it is, and they're going to hurry up, get back in the line of scrimmage, try to run one more play, and then maybe call a timeout after this one.
Pass complete, near the sticks.
Oh,
Bo Johnson, the tight end. He couldn't get his hands underneath that one. Not the worst thing in the world, though, as it stops the clock for the offensive coordinator, Doug Ruse.
It does look like he gets his left arm underneath that. They'll take another look at this, I would assume. No, we're not.
Tomlin throws, sideline, incomplete again. Trying to find J.J. McAfee, receiver. So with 9 seconds left on 3rd down and 10. Keep in mind, their kicker Alex Rayner's career long is 47 yards.
Yeah,
They
so
probably need to be around the 30 or so.
Yeah, you need to pick up a good chunk on this play, and it's interesting. Just with the incomplete passes, they haven't had to use timeouts, so they're probably going to end up with an extra timeout on the board. You need to get around the 30.
False start. Offense. Number 72. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
It's Khalil Crowder. Pushes Georgia Southern back even farther from field goal range.
Yeah, and that obviously doesn't help. And right now, if I'm Kevin Whitley, honestly, I'd take a timeout right now. I mean, no reason to save them. Call a timeout. Get the right play in. And they're going to let it roll.
Tomlin looks to throw. Short completion to Emil Smith. He's twisted down at the 45. And Georgia Southern gets the timeout off with just 1 second left in this first half. So from the 45-yard line, be about, what, a 62, 63-yarder. Again, Alex Rayner's career long is 47, so we don't expect them to bring out the field goal unit. We'll see what they bring up on offense, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is Hail Mary situation. You're at a point where your quarterback can reach the end zone. Usually you try to get the quarterback outside of the pocket, give him a little bit more space. Either, Hail Mary, either go 2 by 2 and let him run straight, or you go 3 by 1 and bring the guy from the other side of the field all the way across. And you just got to give him enough time. So this is just a reason why they call it a Hail Mary. You throw up a prayer, see if you come down with it.
Jalen Wayne is back, as well as his fellow wide receiver, Jalen Tolbert. So the two Jalens playing defense here on the last play of the first half. Tomlin rolls, launches to the end zone. Batted down, and that'll close the book on the first half. Georgia Southern gets it first to start the second half, but overall, Mark, all Jaguars in that opening third.
Yeah, it really was. And you just look at that first half. It was dominated by South Alabama, and they seemingly couldn't be stopped until that very last 3 and out towards the end of the half. And it's going to be a tough hill to climb for Georgia Southern. They had something going in the run game, but problem with running the football is it takes a lot of time off the clock, and with only 30 minutes of football left, you don't have a ton of that.
Yeah, Georgia Southern has never won a game in program history when being outrushed. They're 0-20. They need to find some answers tonight against South Alabama on a Thursday night in Mobile. The Jaguars came out firing. 31 straight points to open the game. 8 points for the Eagles before we go to the break, but still USA dominant. Georgia Southern on the road at South Alabama, and the Eagles find themselves in a bit of a hole, down 31-8, but with some momentum heading into the second half. But why are they in that big-time deficit? It's that guy right there. Jake Bentley has been amazing so far for the Jags tonight. He's got a couple rushing touchdowns and a couple passing touchdowns as well. And we welcome you back to this broadcast of South Alabama against Georgia Southern. I'm Drew Carter alongside the Super Bowl champ Mark Hertzlich. Thanks for spending some of your Thursday with us. And Mark, it was all USA to start, and it was all Jake Bentley.
Yeah, it was, and he was spreading the ball out. Jalen Tolbert really was the recipient of the first 4, and then the next 4 was the other Jalen. And when you look at Jalen Wayne and Jalen Tolbert, I mean, they were fantastic, but this is something we didn't expect. We didn't expect Bentley to be so good on the ground and being so proficient in the red zone. He took it in himself for 2 of those touchdowns, and it just was no answers for Georgia Southern, and really at all up until the very end of the game, or end of the half rather. It was long ball after long ball, touchdown after touchdown, and it looked like South Alabama really had it completely in their bag until that final drive when Georgia Southern marched their way down the football field to put some points on the board, and then got a nice little 3 and out by their defense.
Georgia Southern goes for 75 yards on 16 plays in more than 7 minutes on this one scoring drive, capped off by that run by J.D. King, escaping a tackle and scoring. They got the 2-point conversion. They get the second half kick. But, I mean, Mark, 106 total yards of offense for Georgia Southern, 75 of them on one drive. They were just completely anemic until the end of the first half.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem was the first downs, right? 5 first downs that entire half, and really all of them were on that one drive. I mean, they started out with 3 or maybe 4 3 and outs, and there was absolutely no rhythm to the offense, and they settled down. I think kick-started that Georgia Southern team, and they found a little bit of action going on that last drive. Let's see if they can get another stop defensively, get the ball back.
Najee Thompson calls for the fair catch, and Georgia Southern starts at the 25. And credit where it's due to that South Alabama defense as well. They have been keeping Justin Tomlin at bay. Tomlin's a guy they've got high hopes for in Statesboro. The interim head coach Kevin Whitley told us this week, Mark, that Lamar Jackson is the guy they want Tomlin to be. Usually it's the announcers who are making the ridiculous, crazy comparisons, but Kevin Whitley's got high hopes for him.
Yeah, basically, you told us, did you guys watch Monday Night Football last week? I mean, Lamar Jackson not only was doing it with his, incredible athleticism and his arm, but he's developed into a leader, and that's the next step for Justin Tomlin, to become a leader that they can count on in this offense.
Well, just as we heap praise on Tomlin, his backup Cam Ransom comes in to start this drive and hands it off to Logan Wright, right up the gut. We saw Ransom a little bit in that first half on their third drive. He came in relief of Tomlin, also came in when Tomlin went down after a big hit. Ransom's a guy, 6'3", 215 out of Lakeland, Florida, who can run it and sling it as well. Here on 2nd down and 7, gives it off to Wright again. And this is what Georgia Southern's going to do, Mark. If you're just joining us now, you might say they're down 25. Why aren't they throwing? But this is their offense.
Yeah, I mean, this is their offense. This is what their offense has become because the perimeter run game just hasn't been there. And so it's been hand the ball to Logan Wright, their big running back right up the middle. Tried a couple play actions off of that, but really it was either Logan right up the middle or it was Justin Tomlin trying to keep it on a little quarterback speed option and to the outside.
Georgia Southern for 11 on third down in the first half. Here the give is to Wright, bounces it outside, makes a couple men miss. Wright with that big 230-pound frame is in South Alabama territory.
And you see right there, I mean, this is good job bouncing the ball outside. And he's not going to have that breakaway speed, but you see the agility. I mean, he's got some short area quickness where he can make a guy miss. And anytime you try to arm tackle a guy that looks like that, good luck. But hey, the last drive that we saw them have was a scoring drive, and right now they're moving the ball past midfield. Good.
The last play was 23 yards, their longest gain of the day, and they stick with Wright on the ground on first down. Logan Wright, really interesting story. Last time he played in Mobile against South Alabama, he actually broke his neck playing against the Jaguars. Long road to recovery. He's back as their #1 running back.
Yeah, they didn't know if he'd ever play again, and came back in that 2020 year, and he played some sparingly, obviously concerned about the neck, but he came into this year after an off season of looking good, and he's looking good so far in this game.
It's spelled stable of running backs for the Eagles. That's Gerald Green on the second down carry. Not to be confused with former NBA slam dunk champion Gerald Green. Solid gain on second down.
Yeah, and you see the shiftiness, right? Gerald Green's kind of that breakaway speed back that complements the big pounder of Logan Wright, and those are you can get some yardage and some mileage out of the changeup between getting a defense prepared for stopping the big back, and then you give the ball to the little back and he gets a little shifty moves, picks up a nice little gain, and now you got another big guy in, J.D. King.
J.D. King, 5'11", 215. The Oklahoma State transfer is the running back next to Ransom, who drops back to pass on third down. The lefty slings it, first down completion, and more for Amari Jones. Jones inside the 25, and the Eagles have something cooking on the first drive of the second half.
Yeah, and we're remiss in not mentioning Amari Jones in terms of the first half, and the catch he had in the first half that looked like he towed down the sideline for a big game. I mean, it's just one. He takes one of those explosive passes to get this offense rolling, and Amari Jones, they found time and time again on that drive before the half, and now it's a good one for Cam Ransom. The backup quarterback in, they're still moving the football.
False start. Offense. Number 50. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Kyle Olson, our referee tonight, calls it against Caleb Kelly, the right tackle.
And, movement a little bit early. And you just can't afford that. This is an offense that needs to stay in progression, right? You need to pick up 3-4 yards on that first down. You need to stay in progression on second down. Now it's a tougher challenge.
Now it's 1st and 15. Ransom to throw. Up the seam, incomplete.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that looked like the wide receiver got tackled there before the ball got there. No flag down, but had the defender beat, and I mean that's a tackle. And that ball's in play. That absolutely has to be pass interference. That's a poor call by the referees.
It's Trey Young, number 4, who's got 19 tackles this year. Give him number 20. The ball was in the air. Still no pass interference call. Second down and 15. Ransom keeps, and Ransom is sandwiched after a short gain on second down. Chris Henderson is in there first for South Alabama. So here comes third down and long for Georgia Southern. This is a team that likes to matriculate the ball down the field, leading the Sun Belt in rushing, last in passing. We'll see what they dial up here with the offensive coordinator, Doug Ruse.
Yeah, and we'll see what Kane Womack dials up defensively. They've been known to bring pressure in these situations, usually a linebacker directly up the middle. See if they continue with that, or if they kind of sag off into zone coverage.
South Alabama rushes 4. Ransom throws. Left sideline. Up in the air. Then they call it incomplete. Devin Rocket brought it in on his keister.
Wow. And that's very close to being an interception, but it looks like Rocket touched his hand down out of bounds. And it looks like let's see where he is. That right hand, you see the hand is out of bounds. And then he is out of bounds as a player. And that one's a good call, officials. Fantastic concentration to catch though.
That was close for Devin Rocket. All right, it's a 44-yard attempt for Alex Rayner. This would be his longest of the season. And it's good. 44 yards for the redshirt sophomore out of Kennesaw, Georgia. And Georgia Southern has scored on a couple drives lately across halftime. Got a little momentum now, only down 20.
Gosh, man, all it takes is a stop and getting the ball back and getting in the end zone. I mean, it's just right now, if you're South Alabama, you're starting to hone things in a little bit more. You're starting to concentrate a little bit harder, and it's not going to be as easy as you once thought it was. Great kick by Rayner. It's a good job by Georgia Southern just to get the points on the board. Unable to do it pretty much the whole first half. And come away with points on a drive. They're going to have to come away with points on pretty much every drive to this second half.
Yeah, pretty soon here, Mark, we're going to have to start counting possessions for Georgia Southern because it's not a quick strike offense. We're not talking about the Kansas City Chiefs here. They're down 3 possessions with 25 minutes to go. They can't afford to come up empty, really, on any of these possessions. Britton Williams, the true freshman kicker. This is returnable for South Alabama. It's Jalen Tolbert on the return, USA. And here comes Jake Bentley, who is absolutely phenomenal in that first half. 4 total touchdowns, 2 on the ground, but really, Mark, one of those was also through the air because he hurtled into the end zone in a very athletic play.
Yeah, he went up and over the defense on that second rushing touchdown and got a little conservative towards the end of the half, just preserving the lead. Got to expect them to open it up again, get some passes in, second, third down.
Give on the first play is to Terrion Avery. He only had 4 carries against Texas State last week, and yeah, he's dealing with some injuries right now. Look out.
Yeah, we talked about that separated shoulder. That was a big hit from 2 defenders. Good job holding on to the football. And right now, second down, gotta anticipate. This is a pass situation for 8 in motion. Watch him.
Look out, that's Jalen Tolbert, who had more than 100 yards in the first half. He gets the call on this screen, and a nice play in open space by Tyler Bride for Georgia Southern.
Yeah, we mentioned Derek Canteen, the starting corner who led the nation in interceptions last year. He's out, and basically Tyler Bride was just thrown in. He was thrown in the FAU game when Canteen went down, and he's played well. Good tackle there against the star receiver from South Alabama.
Jags 3 of 6 on third down in the first half. Bentley on the roll, on the money to Tolbert again. His 8th catch of the night, and this one goes for a first down.
Yeah, we mentioned early in the game, this is probably his second drive. There's a little bit of kind of missteps between the quarterback receiver option. Now, that has been corrected. I mean, they are right on the money with each other. That was a really good play call by Major Applewhite, getting his quarterback outside the pocket to pick up that quick pass.
Fake the give to Avery. Bentley throws to the field side. It's broken up. He was looking for Tolbert again. Anthony Wilson on the coverage, and good coverage at that.
Yeah, it's good coverage by Anthony Wilson. And that ball, it's a little bit late. One of the things that Jake Bentley, if there is one thing that Jake Bentley can work on, is just it's throwing the ball a little bit sooner. So sometimes he waits for his receivers to be open rather than throwing them open, and part of that's learning the system, getting in a rhythm. But if there's one area that he could improve on, it'd be that.
He had completed 6 in a row until that last incompletion. Here he is on the dump off. A solid game for Jacob Hopper, reserve tight end for South Alabama. Sets up 3rd down and manageable. So Jake Bentley turns 24 years old next month. He's above 9,500 career passing yards. Played 4 years at South Carolina, 33 starts in those 4 years with the Gamecocks. 1 year at Utah. Came to South Alabama to be a little closer to home. Went to high school in Opelika, which is on the other side of the state near Auburn. This is where he wants to finish his college career. He looks to throw on 3rd down and 4, stands in and delivers a dart for a 1st down. Guess who? Jalen Tolbert.
Good job. We talked about standing in the pocket while taking a hit. He took a hit low and across the bow. This ball was ruled complete, but that one looks like it got trapped against the turf. It'll be interesting to see if they review that, because I don't know if that is a complete pass or not.
Yeah, they did call it incomplete on the field.
Okay.
That was my bad. I just assumed that Jalen Tolbert, if he's in the air, you think he's going to bring it in. He's got 8 catches for 104 and a touchdown tonight on 15 targets. It's going to be a delay of game against South Alabama's punt unit. Jack Brooks will move back 5 yards.
Delay game, kicking team. 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
Jack Brooks out of Wagga Wagga, Australia. I was so excited to say that name the entire week as we were preparing, Mark. I mean, Wagga Wagga, that's money.
Yeah, I know. I knew you were excited for that name. Hey, say it again. Wagga Wagga. Say it like a Muppet. Wagga
Wagga Wagga. Wagga Wagga. I can't really do a good Muppet impression, but Jack Brooks kicks it away. And it'll be out of bounds, and Georgia Southern will set up shop. As the referee moves down the sideline, the Eagles have good field position and a little momentum. Bet features 9-1 Aspen Ladd making her debut in the featherweight division against 6-1 Norma Dumont. The prelim start at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on ESPN+, followed by the main card at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. If you want ESPN+, and you need it, it's great. Take it from me. Go to ESPNplus.com or download the ESPN app. Would you ever step in the octagon, Kurtzler?
Nope. I have not, would not, will not. There's some tough people in that octagon.
I completely agree. There's some tough guys on this Georgia Southern offense, too. They were down 31-0 late 1st half. They've scored the last 11 points. That's J.D. King with a solid gain on 1st down. Give him 8.
Yeah, physically, but more mentally tough. I mean, anytime you look up at the scoreboard and you're down 31-0, just like that, you start to feel like, oh man, what are we doing here? Like, what do we have to hang our hats on? And really, it's nothing, right? But you still have game left, and they've been playing hard, like they're not even looking at the scoreboard.
Cam Ransom is still in at quarterback. King puts it on the and it's a scrum for the ball. J.D. King fumbled it after the handoff from Ransom, and it's going to stick with the Eagles.
Yeah, and
That's Whitley, the interim head coach. Yeah, he's got to be sweating.
It's just, not fully secured as he's trying to spin out of that tackle. Good job and awareness by Aaron Dowdle, the offensive guard, to jump on it. And 3rd and 11.
That was Brock Higdon who forced the fumble. Leads to a loss of 9 for Georgia Southern after a solid gain on 1st down. Here's 3rd and 11 for Ransom. Slings it incomplete. Near the sticks, J.J. McAfee was open, but they can't connect.
And that has got to be caught by J.J. McAfee. That was a rope thrown by Cam Ransom. I mean, that's exactly what you wanted. Good play call, come back right at the sticks. The ball was there. That's the type of play you have to make. You have to make it.
Anthony back to punt for the Eagles.
Anthony Beck kicks it away for Georgia Southern, hits the deck again for the second time tonight. Jalen Tolbert calls for the fair catch. South Alabama back to work when we come back. Coach Womack on the sideline for South Alabama, and Kane is raising the profile of this program. If the name Womack sounds familiar, especially to fans in the Southeast, we're going to show you why. His dad, Dave, was a defensive coordinator in the SEC for a long time. Kane Womack's South Alabama team played 4 overtimes last week. That's nothing to Pops. Let's take you back to Ole Miss in overtimes against Arkansas. That was the team that Dave Womack was the defensive coordinator for. Eli Manning, the quarterback for Ole Miss. Arkansas wins. Not so lucky this time against Tennessee. Jason Witten, the game-winning touchdown for Phil Fulmer and the Vols. The next year, Arkansas against Kentucky, and the hefty lefty Jared Lorenzen can't score in the 7th overtime. He fumbles on the last play of the game, and Arkansas wins 71-63. Dave doesn't want to hear about his son's 4 overtime game. That's child's play, literally, for his kid at the Thanksgiving table.
I mean, how about that? 7 overtimes twice. That's out of control. I mean, that's, his dad's the head coach, kind of developed the 4-2-5 defense along with, Bud Foster and those guys back in the day. And Kane Womack studied under his dad, learned that 4-2-5 defense, and you see it out here today, and they've done a good job so far, and now his offense is on the field trying to put up some more points.
Give us to Brian Hill here on first down. Another solid gain of 6 for South Alabama. Womack is an interesting guy, Mark. He's 34. As we've said, he's the youngest FBS coach in the country. Obviously comes from a strong football pedigree with his dad, Dave, as the longtime coordinator of the SEC. And Womack's swarm defense has really taken the Sun Belt by storm so far this year. And where they really thrive is on 3rd down and in the red zone.
Yeah, they do. They've been great on 3rd down, and you mentioned great in the red zone. And with Major Applewhite's offense doing what it's doing now, you can really bring that pressure on 3rd down when you want to.
Hand off again to Brian Hill. It'll set up 3rd down and short. So with Womack coordinating the defense alongside Corey Batoon, who's coached under Hugh Freeze and Lane Kiffin, that side of the ball is rock solid for the Jags. On offense, like you said, Mark, they've got Major Applewhite drawing up the plays. Jake Bentley, a 6th-year senior at quarterback. They're 0-2 right now in the Sun Belt, but it's really a recipe for success, you'd have to think.
Yeah. They got to convert this one.
They do. They converted and then some. Brian hit. Lots of green grass in front. Foot race inside the 10. Finally brought down by Seth Robertson. 58-yard pop.
And Brian Hill transferred in from Tuskegee, following his dad, Ernest Hill, who's the running backs coach here at South Alabama, and really worked his way into the lineup because of the injuries to Kareem Walker and Teron Avery and Colin Lacey. They have 3 guys that they like really kind of better than Brian Hill, but Brian Hill, he described him as he's just going to return every serve. And he's going to make you make the mistake, and there, mistake made by Georgia Southern, and Brian Hill capitalized.
This time Bentley to throw after the play action. Walk-in touchdown, South Alabama. Lincoln Sefcik, the tight end. Jags back in business.
Fantastic play call by Major Applewhite. The entire defense just ran all the way downfield, got lined up fast. They're anticipating run again from Brian Hill. Play action, found the tight end in the flats, just kind of snuck in there, and you pick up 6 more points, and that's the way. That's the way you stop any momentum that Georgia Southern gaining. The end of that half, and it started the second half.
Have a night, Jake Bentley. 5 total touchdowns. 2 with his legs, 3 with his arm. The latest to Sepsic. South Alabama rolling. Sepsic didn't have a touchdown at South Alabama until last year. Now he's got 2 in 2 games. Just scored to make it 38-11 Jaguars all over the Eagles from Georgia Southern. Thanks for coming back with us here on ESPNU. Drew Carter alongside the Super Bowl champ Mark Hertzler with his Fun Belt matchup. Najee Thompson back to receive for Georgia Southern. It'll be a touchback, and Mark, let's go back to that touchdown catch.
Yeah, so it's a good play call, and they obviously just had the big run game, so the run is going to affect the defense, and you got to watch screen number 40, Jalen Jackson. He has a clear shot at the quarterback, but the little stutter, because the run before was so effective, he wasn't sure whether the ball was handed off or not, had him freeze, and that little slight freeze opened up Lincoln Sepsic on the flat, and it's an easy touchdown, and it's a play that you learn from, right? It's a sophomore, Jalen Jackson, coming off the edge. You have a responsibility for the quarterback, take him out. But either way, good play on offense by Jake Bentley and that South Alabama team.
Cam Ransom back to work in the shotgun. And the handoff is to Logan Wright for Georgia Southern, short game. I want to go back to that touchdown, though, Mark, because, I mean, you played linebacker at the highest level at Boston College and for the New York Giants. How hard is it to defend play action?
Yeah, no, it's hard to defend play action. You see right there. You see the look in his eyes. He knows he could have made a play, and that's what eats at you, right? But the next time you get in the field, that's something you learn from. And anytime you face, an RPO or a play action, like, have a responsibility. Go do that to the best of your ability. Let the other guys take care of what they need to take care of, and you should be all right.
Ransom felt the heat, still delivered a dart to Derwin Burgess, but he couldn't haul it in. Brings up 3rd down and long.
Yeah, the first drive that we saw the backup quarterback Cam Ransom in. He was off target with his passes. Last couple times, he has put the ball right where it needs to be. That one across the middle, you throw it low to your wide receiver. You got to come up with that catch. We saw JJ miss one on the sideline on the last drive, but that becomes a problem, right? Georgia Southern being able to run the football okay, but just the passes have not been there.
Already their 16th attempt on 3rd down tonight. Ransom with plenty of time. Loads it up, lets it go, complete! Big chunk for Georgia Southern. Again, it's Amari Jones on the reception.
And let me tell you how hard that throw is. Cam Ransom rolling out to his right. He's a lefty quarterback. He sees his wide receiver who has got the defender beat deep, and then he throws it there. I mean, that's, you're coaching quarterback. You don't necessarily want to see that because it's the turnover possibility, but you are very impressed with the arm strength and the ability for Ransom to kind of manipulate his arm angle, get the ball out there with some power. Great throw.
First and 10. The pitch goes to Gerald Green. Sports out a 1 tackle and makes something out of nothing on 1st down. So Ransom here, Mark, is a guy who the coaching staff told us has earned the right to play.
Yeah, and you see him, he's telling guys to go deep. This is called a scramble drill. But how do you throw that? He turns his body all the way around, and it just looks awkward coming from a lefty, right? But it's a really good throw, and it's a throw that's hard to make. You got to have your receiver hit in stride, and he does that. And I mean, Amari Jones, he's really been the only receiver tonight to make significant plays in the catching game.
Another dig to Gerald Green on 2nd down. I mean, that throw from Cam Ransom, Mark, I mean, the guy's got a future in Statesboro.
Yeah, and they really like him, and he obviously has a lot of learning to do, and there's stuff that he can get better at, but just when you look at the intangibles, right, his arm strength, the way he can run plays that are kind of designed for righty quarterbacks. I mean, that you roll out to the right, that's in the play sheet for Justin Tomlin, necessarily for Cam Ransom, and Cam Ransom makes the most of it.
3rd and short. Ransom keeps, lowers the head, and Ransom with another solid gain on third down. Trey Kaiser brings him down for South Alabama. Georgia Southern's in the red zone.
Yeah, and I'm surprised, right? Justin Tomlin led that long drive towards the end of the first half, and I thought, man, okay, they got something going. Justin Tomlin's finding his stride. Well, we come out in the second half, and it's been Cam Ransom, and they feel really good about him right now, and he's been able to move the ball, field, not as much speed, but you saw the power on that last run.
Speaking of power, this is Logan Wright, big 230-pound redshirt senior running back. Bangs his way for a couple on first down.
He's big. I mean, he is a big boy. You see right there,
I agree.
Yeah, Justin Tomlin, he understands what's going on right now, and this is the type of situation where they're going to ride the hot hand, whether it's the running back in Logan Wright, whether it's the quarterback in Cam Ransom, whether it's a wide receiver to Mark, because you gotta ride the hot hand when you're down this much.
Ransom converged on by Jags, and he's brought down in the backfield. Jamal Hickbottom brings him down, and that brings us to the end of the third quarter. Georgia Southern was rolling a little bit with 11 straight points. South Alabama's got the answer. Brian Hill, a big pop, leads to a touchdown for Lincoln Sepkick. South Alabama up big. Folks, don't forget, huge college football Saturday lineup on ABC and the ESPN app. It all starts at noon Eastern with number 3 Cincinnati hosting UCF. Then number 2 Iowa hosts Purdue. And our Saturday night game presented by Capital One, it's number 4 Oklahoma. Boomers Sooner looking to avoid a post-Longhorn letdown as they host the TCU Horned Frogs. Cam Ransom to throw on third down and 9. That pass is broken up by Keith Gallman Jr. trying to find Amari Jones, and it brings up fourth down and 9. So, Mark Hertzlich, what do you think? 4 down territory?
Yeah, 4th down territory. I mean, you got to imagine that you need, right now you're down 4 scores. And one of those scores can be a field goal, though, so you just got to get, you got to get 7 points on pretty much every time you touch the ball. And you only average about 3 or 4 possessions in the 4th quarter, so got to get that 27 somehow. Might as well throw to 3.
Alex Lanning hit from 44 in the first half. This is 34, and this is pure. So now it's a 3-score game. Still a steep hill to climb for Georgia Southern. South Alabama ball when we come back. South Alabama up big over Georgia Southern, 38-14, early 4th quarter. Drew Carter back alongside Mark Hertzlich, and it's a bit of a special anniversary for my partner right now. Check it out, Mark. It's been 10 years since you and the G-Men won the Super Bowl. Hey, this has got to be a pretty special moment just looking back on that memory.
Yeah, it was fun, and man, what a season. You know, got my gear on. This is the 10th anniversary of that Super Bowl win, and it's a reunion. The entire team from that year is coming back to the Giants game this weekend, so we're gonna have our hats on, we got our rings. Man, it's special. It's been a long time for the Giants fans that had a good season, and hopefully we can bring them luck against the Rams this weekend.
All right, now, I hate to interrupt the trip down memory lane, but Georgia Southern just tried for an onside kick. Let's check this. I hate to do that to you, Mark, but Britton Williams with the onside kick. I think that went 10 yards, didn't it?
Yep. You see those big lines? Cross 2 of them, that's 10 yards.
Offside, kicking team, number 40. 5-yard penalty, free kick.
All right, so it is a penalty. That's Jalen Jackson. And for Georgia Southern, it's a 3-score game. They just kicked the field goal. They're down 24. They need 3 touchdowns and 3 two-point conversions. It's pretty close. Jackson was right next to the kicker, Williams. That's iffy.
Wow. That's a tight call from those officials, and you err on the side of being an extra yard back, and man, that's a tough one because that was a well-executed surprise onside kick. That's tough.
By the way, one of Kevin Whitley, the interim head coach's new duties as head coach is to be apoplectic at the referees when something like that happens.
I don't blame them.
So they kick it deep. And, Mark, we got to come back on camera because we saw your one piece of Giants paraphernalia. but, dude, I mean, the hat's great, but let's see that bling, baby. Yeah, that's what we want.
Let's get that ring in focus. There we go. New York
Nice.
Giants. Yep. That was a fun day. That was a very fun day and a fun season. So it's gonna be excited to see all the guys again. Get the big Brandon Jacobs back out on the field, Justin Tuck, Osi Umenyiora. It's gonna be good to see all those guys again.
I hope you guys have a lot of food if all those dudes are going to be there.
Lots of meals planned.
Here comes South Alabama back on offense. Look at Lincoln Sefcik, fresh off a touchdown catch, making guys miss. Tyler Brye finally brings him down.
Yeah, Sefcik comes from a football family. Dad Tim played football at Oklahoma State. Very versatile guy. They like his speed too. You know, he's not just your big thumper. He can get out there. He can make some routes. Good hands.
You know what I really like about Lincoln Sefcik is that his favorite movie is Space Jam. That's a good call.
That's my son's favorite movie as well, and he's 3, so that's good.
South Alabama keeps it on the ground on 2nd down and 6. We 3rd down and manageable coming up for the Jags.
And just to clarify, the original Space Jam is the one that I am referring to, that my son loves.
Of course. You know,
Yep.
I'm sure in your household, Mark, and on this broadcast, we treat Space Jam 2 as if it doesn't exist.
Right. Good for LeBron. It was a very fun movie. I did see it, but I don't know if you just can't beat the Michael Jordan original. But on 3rd and 7, let's get back to football. This one matters.
That's my job, bringing us back to focus here. Third down and 7, Bentley to throw over the middle. It's caught. Jalen Tolbert, check that Jalen Wayne, getting my Jalen's confused, has a huge gain on 3rd down. 42 yards for the Jags.
I mean, come on. Good thing we got back to football, because how about this throw? This is well covered. There are 2 guys there. And Jalen Wayne, he goes up and gets the ball, but he's not done there. He picks up some more yards after the catch. And that is a perfectly placed ball by Jake Bentley, because Jalen Wayne did not have to break stride. All he did was reach his hands up, make a great catch. And I think this is the first game that I've seen that this South Alabama offense, they are firing on all cylinders.
It looks like Jake Bentley's got some Michael Secret stuff, Mark, and so does Jalen Tolbert as they go back to number 8.
And I think the best part about this offense, too, is that they don't seem one-dimensional. You come in, you know they're going to be a pass-heavy offense. However, the amount of weapons that they have, whether it's Jalen Tolbert or Jalen Wayne or Brian Hill, and you mentioned those 3 guys, but those aren't even really the guys that you thought were going to make a difference coming into the season. You thought it was going to be Walker and Terrion Avery and Colin Lacey. And just when those guys are back healthy, this is going to be a tough offense to stop.
Swing it out, it's Wayne again. Reggie Wayne's nephew sets up 3rd down and short for South Alabama. Another guy who, we really didn't expect to contribute for South Alabama this year, Mark, is A.J. Phillips, who last week in that loss at Texas State, 19 carries, 74 yards. I mean, with so many injuries to really the 3 running backs in front of him, 4th on the depth chart, he had to come in and step up large, and that's what he did. You see him number 2 right next to Bentley right now.
Yeah, and if you're confused, because last week you're like, well, who's that number 22? That's the same guy. A.J. Phillips just dropped one of the 2s. He's now 2. He's got that same potential.
Bentley throws. High pointed. Hauled in. Flag on the field. I'm not sure if Jalen Wayne hung onto that football. We've got an official's hat on the turf. We've got a flag on the field. I'm not sure if it was complete or incomplete. I think they called it a catch on the field. Let's see what the call is.
If the hat's down, that usually means the wide receiver stepped out of bounds. And if there's also a penalty, that means he went out of bounds on his own and then was the first player to touch the football, which would be a penalty.
Number 8 of the offense went out of bounds on zones, came back in and was the first to touch the pass. The foul for that is illegal touching. Ball placed at the at the previous spot. 4th down.
Kyle Olsen.
Yeah, and it basically
explains it.
Yeah, it basically goes down as an incomplete pass. But you see at the top of the screen, as he's trying to make that pivot upfield, he goes out of bounds. And if he's forced out of bounds, he can reestablish himself inbounds and make the catch. However, if you go out of bounds on your own, you can't be the first to touch the football, which is why, whether that was a reception or not, it will go down as basically an incomplete pass.
Brings up 4th down and 4 for South Alabama, up by 24. And they send out the field goal unit. And Diego Guajardo, this from 43 yards. And he pushed it. So still a 3-score game. Guajardo can't convert. Georgia Southern hanging on to a little life in Mobile. You know, a lot of people hear Mardi Gras and think New Orleans, but Mardi Gras was actually born right here in Mobile. We're talking 300 plus years ago. And the South Alabama football program embraces that history of their city. For each of their Saturday home games, the team arrives on Mardi Gras floats. Definitely one of the more unique traditions in college football. Now, they didn't do it tonight because it's a weeknight game. There's a lot of traffic on campus. Kane Womack and the South Alabama program opts out of the Mardi Gras floats for tonight's Thursday game. But, Mark, I mean, we were still going to show it. We didn't care if they didn't show up tonight. We're still going to do it.
Well, I mean, it is a school night for these guys, right? You know, they got to go to class tomorrow, so you can't get all the pomp and circumstance around the Thursday night game. But, yeah, what a cool tradition riding in on Mardi Gras floats. I love it. I really do.
1st and 10, Cam Ransom back in at quarterback for Georgia Southern. And the southpaw has to escape pressure. And he's brought down by Keith Gallman Jr. from a safety position. You know, Mark, when I think Mardi Gras floats, first thing that comes to my head is actually something that happened right here in Bristol, Connecticut. Drew Brees and that This Is Sports Center commercial when he was holding up traffic to get on campus. That is my favorite Mardi Gras memory.
Oh, man. That whole series of commercials was absolutely fantastic. Maybe only surpassed by the Office linebackers where Tate would just go and destroy people.
Terry Tate, incredible stuff. Ransom on 2nd and 10. He is brought down in a heap. Big hit for South Alabama, and Yam Banks, the Husky position.
Yeah, this is one of those simulated pressures that they love to bring where it looks like they're bringing 5 because they're blitzing someone. However, they drop the defensive end off, so it just ends up in a 4-man rush, but the offensive line has to sort it out really fast. Great job by Cam Banks timing that one up, getting the quarterback, and this is 3rd and super duper long. Expect another one of these simulated pressures. Again, right up the middle. They love that pressure by linebackers.
It was Banks at his feet. Lamondre Brooks came in and laid the wood on top. 3rd and 19, Ransom pressure again, down again. It's C.J. Rias who had that interception earlier tonight on the sack this time.
Yeah, what a day for C.J. Rias. He got a sack and an interception. And again, it brought the linebacker pressure right up the middle, little pick stunt. And just the pursuit from the backside. We talk about that wolf position, and whether it's Chris Henderson, Christian Bell, or C.J. Rias, they've done such a good job dropping in pass coverage, rushing the passer, and it's a staple. It's a staple of this Kane Womack defense.
Average 3 sacks per game, 2nd best in the Sun Belt. Anthony Beck punts it from the shadow of his own goal line. Kicks it away to Jalen Tolbert. Calls for the fair catch. South Alabama salting away their first win ever against Georgia Southern. Jake Bentley having a game of his life. He's the first player in South Alabama history with 5 total touchdowns, including 2 with his legs, and this one technically with his also through the air, Mark.
Yeah, you know, he's only had 7 incompletions the entire night, 29 pass attempts, 22 completions for 346 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air. So, whether it's on the ground with his legs, whether it's through the air with his arms, he has been on fire this entire game. And gosh, man, this is exactly what South Alabama wanted to see from him after a game, honestly, last week where they let Texas State back in that one a little bit. And there's been no taking the foot off the gas for Jake Bentley. You see the numbers there. And, man, bounced around. We talked about the different schools he's been to. Transferred in from Utah this year. Knew he was going to come and play for Major Applewhite, who's a quarterback guru. He obviously had a very successful career himself at Texas, and he is taking the tutelage very well. Jake Bentley is playing a fantastic game.
On the pass, he finds Cade Sutherland for a short completion. And you talk about the relationship there with Major Applewhite. That's the reason he came to Mobile. Bentley also wanted to be closer to home. Went to high school in Opelika, a couple hours east of Mobile, Auburn. Bentley was talking before the season. He said there were times where Major Applewhite would call him to talk plays. He said, "You got your notebook ready?" And Jake Bentley would be like, "No, I'm driving." So he would pull over. He'd pull out the notebook. They'd talk plays for like hours. So I'm just thinking of Jake Bentley in his car, side of the road, just talking offense with Major Applewhite.
Yeah, Jake Bentley, we mentioned he's 24 years old. He's got a very serious girlfriend that, at least in Major Applewhite's opinion, thinks he might, end up marrying this girl. And could you imagine, right? Like, side of the road, taking notes, talking to your coach for 3 hours. I'm sure his girlfriend said, "Where are you? When are you going to be over here?"
That's another beautiful throw by Bentley. 38 yards to Jalen Tolbert. And while we're singing the praises of Bentley, we got to give a shout out to his top wide receiver, Jalen Tolbert. These are the numbers for him tonight. 11 catches, 174 yards, and a touchdown, 18 targets.
Yeah, first of all, the amount of targets, that's kind of silly. That's a lot and really good. But you look at it, pretty much every single one of them is, put in a position where Jalen Tolbert can pretty much make a play. And he has. And I think the interesting part, too, is you don't realize how big he is. Because you see him with a lot of this short area quickness and being able to create the separation. But he's 6'3", almost 200 pounds. And that pays dividends when scouts look at a guy to go to the next level.
First and 10. Bentley, deceptively quick as we've seen all night. Short gain on first down. Hey, folks, if you're looking for college volleyball between Utah and Stanford, it's going to begin at the bottom of the hour on ESPN News. We will take you there here on ESPNU after we finish in Mobile. You mentioned Jake Bentley being in a serious relationship, Mark. It's funny because Major Applewhite said, there was a time where the staff and some of the players were going out after a practice, and Bentley said, "Actually, guys, I'm going to turn in." He's kind of an adult playing college football. Turns 24 next month.
Got his priorities straight. The guy wants to stay in. He's got some time to put in with the girl. He's got time to study. He doesn't need to be going out. He's 24. He's been there, done that.
This time he hands it off to A.J. Phillips, who was the star last week at Texas State. Bentley with the 389 passing yards tonight. Not only has the school record for single-game passing yards at South Alabama, he's also up to 9,914 pass yards for his career. So there's an outside chance. South Alabama's up big. There's an outside chance he hits 10,000 tonight. If he doesn't, they're on the road at Louisiana Monroe. 9 days rest next week. You'd expect that's when Bentley crosses 10,000 yards for his career. Third and 6. They keep it on the ground. And Phillips comes up short.
Kind of the unsung heroes of today, too, is this offensive line for South Alabama. We have not given them the credit that they deserve. They're playing shorthanded as well. James Jackson, center, he's out this game. He was transferring from Mississippi State. Trey Simpson moves over to that center position. These guys have played really well up front in the run blocking and also giving Jake Bentley enough time to get the ball downfield. So Good game by the big man up front.
31 yards for Diego Wahono. Doink is money. Diego doinks it home. Gets the home bounce at Hancock Whitney Stadium. What a spectacular night for Jake Bentley and the South Alabama offense. Bentley in his 6th year on his 3rd school, and he is right on the cusp of 10,000 career passing yards. Right now, 3rd in America. He just came from Utah. The Utes said, all right, Bentley, I don't really like your career stats quite enough. Let's bring in the only guy, or one of the only 2 guys in front of you, Charlie Brewer from Bay, Utah. That's what the Utes have cooking right now. Hey, folks, don't forget, huge college football Saturday lineup on ABC and the ESPN app. The music is so good. So is the little ding, ding, ding. It all starts at noon Eastern with number 3 Cincinnati hosting UCF. The number 2 Iowa hosts Purdue. What do the Hawkeyes have after they beat Penn State? And in our Saturday night game presented by Capital One, speaking of what do you got after a big win, number 4 Oklahoma looking to avoid a post-Longhorn letdown as they host TCU. Never an easy game in the Big 12.
And don't sleep on that Friday night 7 Eastern game. Sean Tucker, running back for Syracuse, has been dynamic. He's really a one-man band with that Syracuse offense.
Georgia Southern back on offense. We get our first look at Jalen White tonight, one of the best running backs in Alabama State high school history. Ran for over 3,500 yards in one season at Daleville High School, which is a state record. Now, Mark, you mentioned Syracuse. We both in person this year, and we both seen Sean Tucker go off. I mean, you especially. You saw him with that 5-touchdown game against Albany. That's a special talent.
Yeah, you know, and you never know, right? At the beginning of the season, you're thinking, okay, Sean Tucker, he's playing well against some maybe inferior opponents, but he's hit that ACC schedule, and he has kept up the production. He is, he is a dynamic pass catcher out of the backfield and also downhill runner. Really good competition and good for that Clemson defense.
That was Keyshawn Brown leaving the field for South Alabama with an injury. Good to see him walk off under his own power. So South Alabama is going to move to 4-2 on the season. They'll pick up their first win in Sun Belt play. First conference win for Kane Wommack as the head coach of the Jags as Ransom falls forward for a solid gain on 2nd down. You know, Mark, we've talked a lot about the recipe for success for this team with Wommack coordinating the defense and Applewhite coordinating the offense. You got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball, a lot of transfers, a lot of local flavor with 26 guys from the Mobile area. Probably not going to challenge for a division title with Coastal Carolina in their division in the Sun Belt. But it seems like they're building something really strong in Mobile.
Yeah, not yet anyways, right? But you look 3-4 years down the road, and with the recruiting strategy that Wommack has, trying to get the guys in. Pretty good run.
Big gainer. Ransom doesn't want us to talk about South Alabama.
No, he doesn't. He does not at all. But we're gonna, because they have an opportunity, right? I mean, you get a lot of really good high school football players in that Panhandle, Florida, through that South Alabama and around the coastline, and they really feel like they can make this city of Mobile really a part of their team. You know, they know they're going to have a lot of people in the Alabama area. Yeah, you're going to root for Auburn, you're going to root for Alabama, but they're hoping that the city of Mobile and the surrounding communities, they can really be, South Alabama territory.
Yeah, Mark, and keep in mind, this program has only been around since 2009. As Ransom goes deep, and that falls incomplete. So, it's a young program with a young coach and a lot of momentum. And you're right, it's a talent-rich area. As you see, it's only year 13 for South Alabama. They've never won more than 6 games in one season. But it really feels like they're on the precipice of something. I mean, you're right that a lot of fans, no matter where you are in the state of Alabama, are going to be either Bama or Auburn. It might as well be on your driver's license, right? Your height, weight, and who do you root for? Is it Roll Tide or War Eagle? But South Alabama and UAB up in Birmingham, 2 programs with new stadiums, exciting coaches, and maybe a potential to capture their home cities. Ransom is dropped immediately. South Alabama keeps on bringing the heat.
Yeah, that was just a miscommunication of the offensive line. Just guys didn't get out of their stance and let Perry just run free to their quarterback. And tally another one up for the stat sheet.
It's Terry Perry on the sack. Speaking of Birmingham, a Birmingham native. First career sack in college.
And when you look at the other side, Georgia Southern, obviously they fired their head coach a few games into the season. They got an interim coach now. And you got a lot of young players, a lot of young talent. Look at Cam Ransom, the true freshman. You look on the outside. I mean, they got guys who can make plays on the defense. They're full. They're full of true freshmen. 2 inside linebackers starting a true freshman. They got a couple guys in the secondary that are starting their true freshmen. So the future is there in terms of the players. Uncertainty around who's going to be there leading this team, but you see glimpses of the fight. And whether it's this game or previous games, you see glimpses of how good they can be. Just need to find more consistency, and it's starting a little faster.
Ransom lets it rip on 4th down, falls incomplete, and it's a turnover downs looking for Amari Jones. So much history in this Georgia Southern program, Mark. It's only their 8th season at the FBS level. They came up to FBS, joined the Sun Belt in 2014, and won it in their first year at the highest level of college football. 6 national championships at the FCS and D2 level. I mean, this is a team with a lot of history. Kevin Whitley says he wants to be the head coach. That's every coach's goal. And there's a lot of pressure around this program and a lot of expectations for good.
Yeah, a lot of expectations. And, I mean, it's apparent. You start the season 1-3, and your head coach gets fired after winning 8 games last year. There's a different set of expectations for Georgia Southern, and that's known. It's known by the players. It's known by the coaches, and they need to see better.
New quarterback in the game for South Alabama. That's Desmond Trotter, who was their starter last year. Started 10 of their 11 games last. Jake Bentley came in and he won the job. That's why he came to Mobile to be the starter, and Trotter has handled it really well. That's something we talked about with the coaches this week, Mark.
Yeah, we did, and it was really interesting. When we brought up his name to Major Applewhite, he lit up. I mean, he was excited about this sophomore on the team because he understands that, look, Jake Bentley, he doesn't get too many more years here. This is his last go-round, so they're going to have a guy for the future, and they really think Desmond
completes the pass to Jacob Hopper, and he hops his way for a first down, South Alabama. Trotter's a sophomore. He's 6'3", 215, out of Irondale, Alabama. He's a guy with a strong arm and can move with his feet as well.
Yeah,
Major Applewhite, in his system, Mark, he could be good.
Yeah, no, he could be good. And you talk about how much your bloodlines play into how you can be as a football player. I mean, if bloodlines do anything, he's got him. His grandfather, Ozzie Newsome, NFL Hall of Fame tight end, obviously, general manager for the Ravens for a very long time. His father, William, played football at Alabama State. His mom played basketball at Tennessee State. I mean, he's got a lot of good genes and a lot of history of football and competitive nature in his upbringing. So, Brighton, they like what he can do. And obviously, when you got a guy like Jake Bentley as your starter, you wait a little bit. You wait a little bit, you learn a little bit, and then you come in next year and you start firing.
Bentley says he tries to use his experience to pour into the rest of his team. With his 6 years of experience at 3 different schools, trying to teach Desmond Trotter as much as he can as Jared Wilson goes for a first down, South Alabama.
Yeah, and if I'm Desmond Trotter, I'm talking to coach and saying, Major Applewhite, 3-way conference call me in when you talk to Jake Bentley on the side of the road, just so I can listen into those conversations, because you're right. I mean, the amount of experience and the amount of knowledge that Applewhite and Bentley have combined, I mean, Desmond Trotter, if he's in the right place and he's listening, he can soak up and it can be invaluable.
make a play. You know, for South Alabama, this is a heck of a bounce-back performance, Mark. You know, Kane Womack has said this week that they earned that loss at Texas State in 4 overtimes last week, which, you know, it's never something you want to hear as a player, but it seems like it certainly lit a fire under them.
Yeah, it did, and he mentioned the penalties. They had 13 penalties last week, and they've only averaged about 6 penalties per game over the past 3 years, and so that was a big factor in it. And then, you know, if you watch that game, there was a flea flicker that they felt like if they completed it, it would have really stuck the dagger in Texas State. That flea flicker got turned over, it back to the wrong team, and it was a big turning point. He thought that kind of let the determining factor seep into his team, and they started playing flat. Let Texas State come back in that game. Did not happen tonight. There was no comeback from Georgia Southern.
Yeah, he was hard on his team this week, but their slogan here is LEO, love each other. You saw it on Womack's sleeve there. It's all about support here at South Alabama. And they come back with a huge bounce-back victory, and for the first time in 8 meetings, knock off Georgia Southern. So South Alabama bounces back in a huge way. Kane Womack, the first-year head coach, has his first conference win as a head man, and the Jags knock off the Eagles for the first in 8 meetings. That'll do it for us. For my partner, Mark Hertzlich, Damon Lewis and Peter Loomis on the 1s and 2, handling this ESPN crew. Phenomenal working with them. Again, hey, coming up next on ESPNU, it's college volleyball. Stanford hosting Utah in a Pac-12 clash. Mark Hertzlich and our whole crew, I'm Drew Carter. Thanks so much for watching. South Alabama crushes Georgia Southern. Volleyball is now.